Alistair Scott.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'd like to focus on a couple of things initially, export markets and the dairy sector, and to ask a couple of questions, pose a couple of questions here. Who is the friend of the primary sector? Who understands the primary producer and the export markets? Who has, amongst us here, have experience in farming or experience in exporting? Across that side of the House, sir, there is not one farmer, not one. There, on this side of that, there is Mr. Browning has been a farmer. Mr. Browning has been a farmer of organic produce. And other than that, sir, there is not one farmer on that side of the House. On this side of the House, sir, to name a few, we have Ian McKelvey, David Bennett, Amy Adams, Nathan Guy, Stuart Smith, Barbara Kuriga, who are all involved in producing primary sector products, sir. And then there's, you've driven a tractor, did you say, Mr Davis? But what about exporting? How many, sir, have been involved in exporting? How many have got on a plane and tried to sell the product that we derive from New Zealand? How many of them have made phone calls talking to buyers offshore? How many of them have run an export business in this House, sir? On that side of the House, none. None. Mr Speaker, there is not one that is currently running an export business. And so, sir, it is not a surprise in a way that none of them can support free trade. Because, sir, free trade, we are a trading nation, and free trade is the key to the success of this little nation that we are. Mr Speaker, the opposition do not understand that the leveraging of an advantage in a competitive environment is what we must do. We must have access to our products to enable our economy to grow, to enable higher paid jobs to eventuate and to increase the standards of living for all New Zealanders. Mr Speaker, it's quite sad in a way that you have New Zealand First Party people protesting on the steps of Parliament with anti-free trade people when they profess to support the primary industries. Mr Speaker, they call themselves friends of the farmer, but their actions speak louder than words. The Greens are the same. They don't want trade. They don't want us to grow the economy.
Order.
Sorry.
This is a very broad-ranging debate on the budget and the Imprest supply. Members now been going for 3 minutes, and I think if he could draw his remarks into the debate, which is not particularly hard, then I won't interrupt him again.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, in the budget, we have demonstrated that we are friends of the primary producer, sir, because we have not introduced capital gains tax. We do not support a controlled foreign exchange market. In fact, quite the opposite. And we have not introduced agriculture into the emissions trading scheme, which is all possible in any budget, sir. And of course, we support the free trade agreements. Mr Speaker, the economy is tracking well. It is forecast to grow between 2 and 2.5% over the next number of years. We understand the dairy prices have fallen and below, in fact, the cost of production. And that, sir, enables the global market to re-establish itself, to weed out those inefficient producers of dairy product. And in time, sir, the maths tells you that the price must come up to above the cost of production. Mr Speaker, what the government has done in these tough times for the dairy industry is support them by spending or investing another $500,000 on rural mental health professionals, and that is appreciated in the rural sector, sir. Despite the rhetoric around dairy prices, we know the economy is diversified and we know it is tracking well. We also know that the safety valves are working. The currency has reduced by around 20%. And for those on the House that have a mind to think about exporters or may have exported in the past, will know that that brings a 20% devaluation, brings a 20% increase in New Zealand dollar terms, the revenue, the top line of the exporter. Sir, we've talked about tourism increasing 7% year on year, wine is increasing, kiwi fruit's having a fantastic year, ICT services, international students, all on the up. All will benefit from the weaker currency and, of course, the lower interest rates, another safety valve in the economy that is functioning exactly as it should. But the long-term prospects are good for dairy. The long-term prospects in Asia, the Asian market will continue to be positive based on the ever-increasing demand for high-quality, safe protein. That hasn't gone away, sir. That's there and it will continue to be there. Mr. Speaker, the regions are doing well. Anecdotally, at least I hear people in my electorate from Dannevirke to Featherston of Aucklanders looking around, interested in purchasing houses. Because you can live anywhere in this day and age, sir. Broadband allows accountants in my electorate to service Shanghai customers. Broadband allows rural towns to be connected to the rest of the planet, to sell their services. Designers with customers in Los Angeles. The world is your oyster if you've got, as we roll out the ultra-fast broadband. The plan continues to work, Mr. Speaker. The plan continues to work, and as the economy grows, this gives us a choice. Mr. Speaker, the well-managed economy allows better investment into the health systems, the education systems, and we've already touched on the social investment program, the social programs that we are investing. 790 million invested in the most vulnerable. And that's all about nipping it in the bud, where we know that statistically is likely to cause misery and problems down the track. So that's what social investment is all about, and that is a fantastic initiative of this last budget, Mr. Speaker. Investing in warmer homes is also an investment in the future. Our warmer homes program, combined with the minimum housing, the insulation standards that will be implemented, will be affecting 500,000 homes. 500,000 homes, Mr. Speaker, which reduces the risk of health issues, increases education outcomes because kids are warmer and in a healthier condition when they go to school. These are all good things and part of the social investment program that we have implemented. Mr. Speaker, Plan A is in progress. Plan A is working. It's creating a framework for Kiwis to decide for themselves how to invest their time and their energy. It's not a patronising policy as the opposition would dictate. It is a positive program that's laid out in the budget, Mr. Speaker, and I commend it to the House.